Well, hello everyone. You can see we got the whole laughs and all the jokes here today. I love it. Happy Wednesday, everybody. My name is Alexa, operations manager here at the BPM REIA office. And we have some lovely gentlemen here today with us, including our CEO, Anish Dave, and our amazing presenter, Kevin Carroll. I'm just going to give a couple quick announcements before we get started today. Just letting you guys know, we had a lot going on this past month of April. So many great webinars, such great content. If you missed anything that went down in April, you're definitely going to want to check out our YouTube channel. I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat for you guys in just a moment. I'll actually be putting a bunch of helpful links in the chat for you guys because I just want to get started today. So check out the chat. I'll be putting the links in there, but we had amazing webinars this month of April. So you're going to want to check out those replays on the YouTube channel. Just a heads up, our monthly meeting is coming up May 4th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. How to start and scale a B&B business within 90 days. You're definitely not going to want to miss that one. It's going to be incredible. So I hope to see you all there. And tell your friends too. And you can always find these events on our website, bpmrea.com, upcoming events tab. Although my absolute favorite way to keep up with our events, such as our workshop with Kevin Carroll this morning, you would have gotten a text reminding you about this great webinar we have today. This text line is for events only, just to give you a heads up when we have a webinar coming up. I'll make sure I put this information in the chat for you guys in case I'm running a little bit quick. So just a heads up about our boot camp that is coming up May 21st and May 22nd. We'll be discussing these topics you see here. I just want to highlight that we are running this early bird special for only a couple more days, guys. If you are even contemplating just a little bit about one-on-one coaching or how are these guys getting deals done, you're on our Facebook page, you see the pictures, sign up for the quick start. Just do it. You know, if something comes up in your calendar, let me know. Always keep the communication flowing with me. I'll make sure you're good. But just get your ticket for $197. You're not going to regret it. It's a money back guarantee. Like you see here, it is originally $595. It will be $595 after April 30th. So I just recommend getting that ticket. I'll put the link for the BPM quick start in the chat so you can see some more details about the 4 phenomenal speakers that we'll have speaking there. And yes, this is a 2-day training all day with Anish. If you want to get to know him, sign up for the quick start. You're going to spend 2 full days with him and some people.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly add on that too, is that this used to be well over $1,000 when we did them in person because of the hotel rooms. So now that we've been doing it via Zoom, and also it is in a meeting format, so your cameras are on. So I know when we do these things or webinars, it's different. So I will get to see your lovely faces, and maybe I'll guess your age. For you guys are guessing my age, number one. And I truly give you a money back guarantee. And one of the things is that we've actually had people do the quick start, get things under contract, sold me the deal, and made some money. So for $197, I don't know what else to tell you. If you can't do that, then I'm some of you guys know I'm pretty sarcastic. I tell you to spend more time with your family, catch up on that. Ozarks coming up. You want to be in this, so hopefully I get to see you May 21st, 22nd too.
Yeah, me too. Awesome. And of course, our members get all the special discounts. They get into the in-person networking meetings for free. They get discounts to special in-person seminars. They get the National REIA benefit package. It's, you get a lot of good stuff. If you have any questions about this, I'm going to put the link in the chat for you guys in just a moment. And if you are a business owner that you believe is in alignment with us and that you'd like to, join as a corporate member, we have that opportunity as well. So I'll put the link in the chat for you guys. But as you know, a lot of great benefits being a member. You also have special access through our member portal called Member Flow, where you can register for events as soon as they come out, the special events. and you get to see all the benefits, the vendors, everything in one place. So if you have any questions about a membership, I'll put the link in the chat. And we have one more thing to cover. Oh, of course, one-on-one coaching. So if any of you are interested, you have, this is looking like it's something that might be of interest to you, all I say is schedule a call. Go to the website, book a discovery call, check out Google, check the YouTube, just do your research, but schedule this call. Make time for me and you, time that works for both of us, to get you information. I'll get you a breakdown of everything we include in the one-on-one coaching program. I'll give you pricing. I'll give you, I'll answer as many questions as possible. But my goal is to see if that you are a good fit for this program. And then we'll go ahead and plug you in with a niche so you can get into the nitty gritty, see how this may be a good fit for you in your life specifically. Everybody has different goals. Everybody wants different things, but this is a solely one-on-one coaching program. So we will be, seeing what you're interested in, what your goals are, and seeing if we're going to be a good partner for each other. So go ahead and book a call on the website. I'll put the link in the chat. I'll put my email in the chat as well in just a moment, and just schedule a call. If you have any, inkling, anything that's calling to you, just go ahead and book it and we'll get you the information so that you can make a good decision. Always want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, thank REI Blackbook, Kevin, everybody in the national REIA, and all of our corporate members who help us, have these great events and are part of our community and just help us grow and be better every day. So thank you guys for being here. I will go ahead and let you take over.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And the back of your head said it all too. I mean, obviously we've worked with over 40,000 investors over the last decade. I'm yet to meet one of them that's been born an expert in this business we call investing in real estate. We typically need help. And even what's crazy is a lot of times, even the experienced investors that we work with, they're still searching out coaching for different aspects of their business. It's always about continuous improvement, baby steps. And, it's just about being a better business owner and basically building the life that we're all trying to achieve. Ultimately is freedom. But yep, I love it. All right, I'm going to share my screen here.
Yep. And before even Kevin, you get started, I just want to let you guys know also in our coaching program, we've realized how important REI Blackbook is in our business and scalability and automation, that one of the things that we've done in our coaching this year, as we changed some things on there, I'm actually paying for REI Blackbook while you're in the program. We're using it in different ways with, teammates, landing pages, workflows. The idea is, to free up more time. Again, being totally transparent. I know Kevin's talking about mentors. I have two of my own mentors. I'm actually also in a mastermind. And guess what? I'm actually in the REI Blackbook mastermind. So I'm a big believer in, the founder, Damon, Kevin. The team is phenomenal. So I'm always excited. I'm excited about this, what you're going to be talking about today. I've known about it for a while because I've had the preview. So we finally got Kevin on board to come down or not come down, but virtually come down and really show us the new portions of the program that you guys keep adding to make, basically listening to the investors around the country or your clients saying, hey, it'd be great if you do this. So I just wanted everyone to know that up front. So I'm pretty excited. Same rule of thumb, guys. You got questions, put them in the Q&A. It's easier for us. We'll try to get to as many questions as you like. But I know he's got a lot of great information, and I'll let Kevin take control. It's all you now.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And for those of you who know REI Blackbook, again, we've been around the block a lot. We're 13 years into this, and everybody knows us as the CRM and phone system and, websites and all that normal stuff. But what we've been able to do with Anish and Taryn over the years is say, all right, cool. Some people come to us and they're looking for their first deal. Some people come and they're already doing 5 to 10 deals a month, right? But back to that whole continuous improvement and say, all right, you've been doing it for a while. If we just pull this little lever or make this small adjustment, and those small changes can make big differences. So even people like Anish, still like to plug into those groups and be in the right room where we're just leveling each other up. And yeah, so I just want to point that out. We're honored to be a part of this and work with you in this, not just, you know, through the REI and helping your students implement the same systems you're using, but on a much deeper personal level and having you in our group. So it's been awesome. All right, I'll stop with the sappy stuff.
Yeah, and the last thing I'm going to say is, I know some of you guys were on that virtual wholesaling workshop that I did with Taryn. The reason we could do these virtual deals is because of REI Blackbook. That's, you know, you need that back end to have, you know, to be able to do deals in other markets. And you'll see some of the things he's going to show you today, whether it's mailers or, you know, all the other things, that the new stuff that will help you pick different markets and make it easier for you. So
yeah, no, I appreciate it. You know, thank you. And Nish, can you see my screen okay here? I'm sharing the right one. All right, perfect. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is we've got a new tool in the belt that we call Profit Drive. In effect, what we want to focus on is really how to drive more profits and deals on those hidden off-market properties. So, you know, typically direct mail is a very common way to market, get the phone ringing, and have that consistent deal flow in our businesses. But there's a right way and a wrong way to approach the whole direct mail management aspect. And I'm going to focus on that today. Obviously, we're big into automation and delegation. So I'll kind of show you how we can kind of set and forget this and really put our marketing on autopilot. So that way we're not spending massive amounts of money and time in order to keep our sales buckets full here. All right. So let's see here. I'll get going. But again, those of you who don't know who REI Blackbook is, we're a CRM and websites. We've built an all-in-one platform that a lot of investors will come to us instead of getting a phone system over here, websites there, text platform here. And then we try to, trying to plug all that together and let them communicate and speak together can be a challenge. That's what drives us is ultimately for the last decade is just getting everything in one stop, one place, and just it's less expensive, it's easier to use, and truly allows you to focus on the real estate aspect versus all the software and tools that a lot of us spend countless hours on every week and month trying to get things to work. There's a better way. But so now we've implemented this to the marketing side of things. Right. So again, that's what we do. We've been around since 2009. We've worked with a lot of the educators and influencers in the space to help their students become better business owners, implement the tools to help them manage and be consistent as they're finding deals. Worked with a bunch of you. And again, everything from brand new people who's never even done a deal, maybe not even started a marketing campaign, right? How can we help you get your first deal and start building upon that predictably? And then we've got the guys like, Anish, been doing this for a long time, crazy smart, even helps teach others, but there's small levers that we can pull and change and introduce to help him even go to the next level in his business here. All right. I won't spend much time. Go ahead.
Kevin, before you go, just put in the chat real quick while he's kind of going through. How many of you guys have actually heard of REI Blackbook or used it? But yes, no, first time. It kind of just gives us a good idea while he's going through this, that we could keep an eye on it, because some of you guys might be, hey, I've never heard of any of this. So
yep, I'd be curious to see that as well. But my personal background is I've actually spent over a decade in the corporate America world. Actually, the company I worked for was based in Miami, big publicly traded, but I was always in sales leadership. So I managed a couple hundred sales reps, which was a nightmare across the western half of the US. And the whole goal was to basically implement sales processes and systems so that way our teams could consistently close deals versus close 5 this month, wait 6 months, hopefully get another one. And that predictable revenue stream that all of us want and need. There's good ways and bad ways to go about it. That's what I've always focused on. I've spent the last 5 years strictly working with investors of all shapes and sizes, but how can we basically introduce those same principles, those same processes, and consistently build predictability into our businesses without working 200 hours a week. So, all right, again, system and sales marketing, those how those interact. I'm a nerd, but that's what drives me. All right. So I wanted to kind of talk through. So especially for those of you who are newer and maybe never even looked at direct mail, I'll be the first one to tell you direct mail is not that sexy, fun marketing strategy, right? It's mailing postcards to off-market properties in the hopes that we find that motivated seller. They pick up the phone and call us and say, all right, I want to learn more, or yes, I do want to sell my property. What does that look like? But at the end of the day, direct mail has been a time-tested, it's a very proven strategy with a lot of the big investors that have been doing this a long time. Direct mail has been a cornerstone of their marketing practices to keep that phone ringing consistently. So, it's kind of had a reemergence the last year and a half. Not that it's ever went away entirely, but a lot of us have went to those sexier marketing strategies, running Facebook ads and pay-per-click ads and, maybe TikTok and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying that those things don't work, but as business owners, we definitely want to diversify our lead stream coming in. Some of you may remember a few months ago, Facebook had like a full day outage or even half a day outage. But if our entire marketing depends on Facebook ads or pay-per-click ads, et cetera, and there's any disruption or change to the platforms, regulations, if they go down for a day, what does that mean for our business, right? So this is just a way that new changes and new technology is going to be less impactful on a direct mail strategy versus, those online lead sources. Again, not saying they're bad. We have plenty of users and customers that are killing it on online ads, but again, let's have different sources for those leads. All right, the next one here. So cold calling and texting regulations. I know I've actually done some presentations and some training for BPM in the past on what those new changes are, why they're there, and what the impact is. But those of you who are using texting and those type of strategies, you're probably seeing lower deliverability rates, diminishing returns on the time and the money that's spent to go down. That's going to continue to happen too with those new regulations. I won't spend time going down that path. I could talk for an hour and a half on that alone, but so it's kind of a perfect storm for the reason why direct mail is truly making a big comeback and why it's always been that real strong source of finding those off-market properties. At the same time, if we don't do direct mail effectively and the right way, it can be extremely expensive. Very difficult to track if it's even working if you don't do it the right way. And again, if we don't consistently send out mail, this isn't just hey, I'm going to send out a group of postcards this month and it's going to solve everything for us. This is something that does take a commitment, and we have to do consistently every month in order to basically have that lead flow consistently coming in where we build those predictable businesses. All right, and I'll go into that in a little bit more detail. Okay, so I'm going to start at the beginning here. So as most of us look at direct mail as a marketing source, the first option is we go out and we buy a list, right? We're going to go out and buy a set of data. Maybe it's out-of-state owners or high equity list and absentee owners and so on and so forth. Whatever those characteristics are that we want to market to find those motivating factors of people likely to want to sell their property, is great. But those lists, what do we do with them? If we go out and buy 3 different lists for different reasons, right? Out-of-state owners, high equity, et cetera, do we just mail to the entire list for all three segments? Well, we can basically help manage the actual lists themselves so that we're highly targeting the people that we actually want to mail to, and our likelihood of getting a higher response rate and more deals and spend less money doing it is higher. And I'll dig into that as well. But, bulk property owner lookups. Part of what we are doing in Profit Drive now is if you do go out and buy those lists, when you pull them in, we're going to automatically verify that they're good addresses. We're going to allow you to tag them. Okay, here's my absentee list. Here's my out-of-state list. Here's my high equity, blah, 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 blah. And here's the perfect area where all of them are combined. And now we can send our mail to them. And we want to help manage that process, because if we don't, we're going to spend 3 times more mailing to everybody We're going to have much lower response rates, and it's just going to be harder to actually be profitable going down that path. But again, so just by importing a list, we're going to automatically verify the addresses, give you the owner's name and their mailing address, mortgage information, how much do they owe on the property, all of those details that helps us determine motivation factors in our target audience. We've got you covered on there. So even if you're going out and buying a list, we've got you covered. All right.
Hey, Kevin, so older people like me, not like you young guys, do you want to explain what a tag, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I know you guys will be, they'll say, oh, tag, like the kids game tag, or you're it?
Right. So, well, and thank you for asking that question. I live in this world every day, and I sometimes I forget that some people's like, wait a minute, what do you mean? But so basically, if I go out and I buy a list of absentee owners, and Nish, you're on that list. But now I want to go and buy a high equity list from my data provider as well. Well, Alexa's on that list, and you're on that list. And now we've got a vacant property list, so on, and maybe you're both on that one as well. Well, when I import each one of those lists, I'm going to say, okay, well, here's my absentee owner list, and every property listed is now tagged absentee owner. So in a month from now, when I go and look at my entire database and I want to filter down, okay, here's my absentee list. Oh, Anish is on there. Well, now when I go, I can put another filter and say, here's my high equity list. All right, well, Anish is on that one as well, and Alexa, and so on. So we tag them so that we can identify them and later filter down. So that way, if you're on 4 or 5 lists, I'm going to know it. If you're not on any, if you're only on one of the list, well, chances are there's probably higher motivated people than you that I'm going to spend my money and efforts on trying to find. So great question. It's just simply a way for us to know what list you're on, where you came from, and now we can later dial down those lists. It sounds simple. There's companies out there that charge hundreds of dollars a month just for the list stacking services to be able to tag and filter down. But yeah, that's just our internal way to know where you came from, what characteristics, what attributes do you have as a property, and now we can combine them and really get super dialed in as far as who we're going to.
This way, I'm going to dumb it down for me, like a niche proof. It's just going to show more motivation, right? If it's
100%.
one, it's vacant, it's in pre-foreclosure, it's high equity, didn't pay their taxes.
Yep.
Your list, you're narrowing it down. But if you get a hold of that person, there's a better chance that they're motivated. So really,
100%.
The way to versus doing it manually is the whole point, is what Kevin's trying to tell you.
Right.
And then
right.
also, I don't know if you noticed also the poll I put up there. So 66% of you guys are not doing any direct mail at all. So I'm just kind of curious,
that's a high percentage.
Put it in the chat while Kevin's still going, what's stopping you, or, you don't think it works, or this automation. I'm just kind of curious to see what's happening on there. So
yeah, I'd be curious too. Yeah, it's 60. That's a high percentage. Usually direct mail is one of the more common, in one way, shape, or form, a little bit, right? So yeah, that's good information. All right. And I want to kind of stay on the whole list segment of things. This is really a very common way, especially for newer investors as they're getting started, is to what we call driving for dollars. Most of you've probably heard of this, but it's pretty simple. You literally hop in your car and you go drive through neighborhoods that you want to buy in and look for those problem properties, right? High weeds or a full mailbox, all those things that typically signify a distressed property. It's just, this is a time aspect, right? You're going to hop in your car, you're going to spend time, but there's advantages for it. Is one, some of these properties may not be on those lists that you've went out and bought from one of the data providers. So there's going to be less competition potentially on the properties that you do find. It's kind of cool because you can also leverage other people. So, family members and friends, and, sometimes you can get mail carriers and UPS drivers, pizza people, so on and so forth, but you can actually recruit an army, if you will, to go out and find properties on your behalf. So that way you can help, again, it's all about building your list of potential targets and seeing the property and knowing, hey, this isn't the pretty house in the nice neighborhood. So this person here may be more likely to sell. than the house next door that does, that's well kept, they're living there, and so on and so forth. But again, this is a nice, inexpensive way from a money standpoint. You just have to be willing to spend the time. And even some more experienced investors, like they'll actually use this to have other people submitting those properties to them. So, whether you're new or experienced, a lot of people do use driving for dollars as a way to build that list of potential targets. But so our app as well does the driving for dollars. I'll show you what that looks like later here, but I just wanted to clarify, you can buy a list or you can build your own list. And regardless, we're going to tag them, keep them separate. And now we can really pinpoint who we want to mail to, and I'll go to there. So Anish, do you mind if I play like a 5-minute video? I know Josh here, but I had him go out and actually record himself and his screen driving around of what this looks like. It's about 5 minutes long. Am I good to play this? Cool. All right, guys.
Everyone, it's Josh here from the Profit Drive team, and today we're going to talk about how you can drive for dollars a smart way. So I was actually listening to a podcast the other day, and a guy was on there talking about how he was driving for dollars, and he was going around to different neighborhoods, driving around, and he had a pen and a paper, and he would just jot down addresses that he found. And so the reason people drive for dollars in the first place is to build a very targeted list of properties that they can send direct mail to. So what this guy was doing is he was going around, he was identifying properties that, that looked like they might be vacant or neglected, right? They had tall grass, they might have had bad roofs on them, they might have had overstuffed mailboxes, things that would signify that the property is vacant. And so what he would then do is he would write all these properties down on a piece of paper. He would go back to his house, manually add all of those properties to a spreadsheet. And then one by one, he'd go to the county assessor's website and search for those properties to find the owner's name and the owner's mailing address. And this is actually a very effective way to build a list and to send very targeted direct mail. The problem is it takes a long time to do that, right? So what we're going to do today is show you how to do that whole process in about 15 seconds per property. And we're going to do it with the Profit Drive app. All right, so I'm going to pull up the Profit Drive app right now. And with Profit Drive, when you're starting a new route, if you click on this little button in the top right-hand corner, so you can see the app automatically knows exactly where I'm at. You can see this little orange dot on the screen. And so I'm going to click on this button in the top right-hand corner of the car, and I've got some routes already. So you can see I've got a route in Brentwood, which is a town here in St. Louis. I've also got a route for Maplewood, which is another town, and I've got a route called Dog Walk. And so what I do when I'm at home, when I take my dog for a walk, I just open up the Profit Drive app. I select the Dog Walk route, and now when I'm walking my dog, I can identify properties and I can pin those properties, just like I'm going to show you how to do today. But we're going to start a new route. So I'm going to click on this plus button in the top right-hand corner, and we're going to call this Creve Core, because that's where we're at right now. And I'm going to click Start Driving. All right, and it's literally going to track my route. So we're going to start driving right now, and you're going to be able to see on the app that it is tracking my route. And so the reason we want to start a route is because you know what part of the town or the neighborhood that you're in that you've already driven and which ones you haven't. And if you have bird dogs or other drivers that are on your team, it'll track their routes as well. So you can give them a login to the app and it'll track their routes as well. So then you know where your team has driven and where your team hasn't. So you're not driving the same route twice, okay? So we're gonna go duck into a neighborhood and try to find some distressed looking properties right now so we can pin those properties and add them to our direct mail list. All right, so we identified a neighborhood. Now this is kind of just like a random neighborhood that we found driving around. You can also, before you go driving for dollars, you could go to different data providers and you could pull a list of vacant properties. Oh, that way you kind of already know where in your market you want to go driving. But for the sake of this video, we are just kind of finding a random neighborhood. This is a pretty nice neighborhood, so we might not find too many neglected properties, but we're going to do our best. All right, so we actually, in driving just not even a minute, we actually already found a property. So the reason I think this property might be a good one is if you turn the camera around, you probably won't be able to zoom in, but you can see that there's kind of weeds. Like, this is a really nice neighborhood, and all of the properties are well kept. But this particular one has, you know, paint chipping off of the windowsills and things like that. So this might be a good one. You can see the gutters are really dirty. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm now going to go into the app. So you can throw the camera around here, Kevin. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but we got the screen recording. So the address is 16. I'm not sure what street I'm on.
Hey, Kevin, for whatever reason, we lost the sound. Oh, I lost sound on you too now. Yep. No sound. I can't hear you either, Kevin. Yeah. Mm-mm. Yeah, do you want to? Yeah, now all of a sudden your sound's gone altogether, Kevin. Yeah, I see. I got a bunch of bars. I wish I could mute you in real life, but I was only kidding.
Just changed mics. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
You.
There we go.
I don't know what possibly could have happened to any of this. I don't know. All right. Well, I don't know if that video threw some weird stuff out. But anyway, you get the point. I just wanted to kind of show you. Unfortunately, like that was like where it was going to get good, where you can press a button and start a mail campaign. But we'll just talk through that later. Sorry, the video didn't work out, guys. Sorry.
That's okay.
All right. But the whole point is when you're in front of the property, once you save it, you can automatically get the owner's name, their mailing address, the mortgage information, and kind of see if it basically makes sense to go onto your list. And if it does, I mean, you can skip trace right from the app. So if you're going to go back and cold call or do something like that, right there, cool. Otherwise, you can just say, okay, you know what, this to start my normal mail campaign, and you can press a button and that will automatically send that one piece of mail out. And I'll show you what I mean later, but we've got basically campaigns. So, hey, we send that postcard out this month. I can do that right there while I'm parked in front of their house and know that next month they're going to get another piece of mail. And the month after that, just in that one time pressing that button. And now that I've got them on a multi-step campaign, because that is a big part of direct mail, is not just a shotgun approach where we send one mail out to a property and hope they call back. It typically requires, multiple touch points over several months before the phone calls actually start coming back in. But all of that is part of the app. It tracks where you've driven before. That way you're not duplicating efforts. If you have other people driving on your team, you don't want them hitting the same streets in the same neighborhoods as well. So that kind of keeps everything in line there. But I was gonna show that through. Sorry for the audio issues. I'm not sure what happened.
So on that software, I'm asking my own questions on this too anyway. So if again, like I have a teammate, I have Alexa going out there, because if we're on the same app, would the software know if I already sent something out and then also Alexa tries to send something to the same house, or?
So if you try to add the same property, it's going to pop up and say, hey, you've got a duplicate. Don't do that. Yeah, it'll stop you from that for sure. Yep. And the same thing goes when you go and buy those lists, right? So if you try to import 3 outside lists, for example, and that same property's on there, it will say, hey, this is a duplicate, so on, and what do you want to do with it? So we give you the option, but it will prevent you from mailing the same property 5 different postcards at the same time. Yep. Good question, though, Anish. Good question. All right. But again, so after we either drive for dollars and build our list, we went out and bought lists that we want to mail to, we want to put them on multi-touch campaigns. Like I said before, just sending one card to 5,000 properties probably isn't going to get you the results that you're looking for. But if we can send those same 5,000 properties multi-touch campaigns over 3, 6, 9 months, the response rates and the data that we know very well, and people who's been doing direct mail for a long time knows, the response rates typically come after they receive multiple postcards, and it's a little bit further down the road there. So, but again, one of the cool things about what we're trying to do is, hey, if you're new or you don't want to wait until you have a massive list to start mailing, a lot of the mail houses, if you go to them and just want to mail one postcard, they have a minimum order. So it's going to cost you probably $40 to mail one postcard, or you wait and hold on to that list for a month, 2 months until you get enough to meet the minimum order. And, by that time, somebody else may be marketing to them. So we don't want you waiting to do marketing. You find it, it's on there, it meets your characteristics, get that postcard out, and you pay one low price per postcard, whether you send 1 or 50,000. So again, it's all about, hey, if they're ready, start your marketing now. Don't wait. Don't try to come up with this massive amount in order to mail to keep your costs down, et cetera. But this just allows you to truly press a couple buttons. It's found, bam, the marketing starts. It's on autopilot, and you just kind of build your list that way. So does that make sense in this? Hopefully I explained that the right way.
Absolutely. And I'm going to use something that you use that I've learned from you guys also about touch points. So I know one of my favorite slides, you got to remember REI Blackbook has 40,000 plus investors in their data over 13 years, and they're hardcore analytical. So they get to see what really works, right? And that's why they're constantly improving. So I know your data, and I use this all the time, the first touch point, there's a 2% chance of say yes. The second touch point, I believe it's 4%. I think the third touch point is, the third touch point is 4%. The fourth is, I think, 10. And then the fifth is 82, somewhere around there, right? I got those numbers.
You just nailed that exactly. It's 2, 3, 4, 10. Holy cow! Like, you actually paid attention. Thank you.
So what my point is, what he's trying to tell you is, if you set it up on one property, you're starting to automate those touch points, right? And what I think that's important, what Kevin's saying is, just because I did 5,000 mailers and then you got nothing, and then you're like, oh, direct mail doesn't work. Correct. So it's got to be the consistency, because you're just the analytics. There's only a 2% chance that they'll say yes. Yeah. So you want to increase those numbers on multiple touch points.
100%. And typically direct mail, people say, well, how long do I have to commit to this? Usually, if you can't commit to 5 or 6 months worth of touch points, that's usually a problem, because you're not going to get the response rate and the callbacks, if you will, if you just do it for 1 or 2 touch points. It needs to be stretched out over several months, and usually 5 or 6 months is like the minimum. It's like, all right, if you're going to use direct mail, you need to commit for this amount of time. If you're not willing to do that, you should probably find a different way to find your leads. So what that's worth. But
like I'd rather you do less properties to hit the 5 or 6 points versus you're going to do the 5,000 or X amount, depending on your marketing budget. That's what I would do.
100%. Yeah, I'd much rather send 50 properties, 10 mailers than 5,000 properties one. Like you will get more deals and have better luck with a smaller list doing multiple touches than a massive list just sending one. 100%. So and we've got some training and some data that'll help you out with that as well as we kind of go on here. But all right, so again, and automated direct mail campaigns, that's one of the other problems too. If we don't have a massive team that manages the direct mail aspect, and who's calling the mail house saying, hey, get this ready, this needs to go out in 2 weeks from now, right? And then a month later, you have to call them again, and so on. So what we want to do is kind of put that on autopilot, where you press the button and that thing is happening now for those 5 or 6 mail drops versus hoping the mail house doesn't mess up, and so on and so forth. So this is just to put it on autopilot, allow you to focus on handling those inbound calls, running the numbers, making offers, all the stuff that actually generates revenue for us versus this, $5 an hour type work of, hey, schedule this mail to go out. So, all right, again, you can do one-off mailers. I would highly encourage you to look at sending out campaigns, and I'll show you what that looks like. We have pre-built campaigns. We've got a full library of different postcards that you can pick and choose, mix them up during. So, one property gets this yellow one, then a blue one, then a letter, and so on and so forth. So it's not the same exact postcard necessarily every time. And then the other part of this is, some of us like to go on vacation. Some of us have things that we want to do in our personal lives, maybe not have mail drop right around a holiday when people are busy, but typically that's been a manual process of coordinating with the mail providers as well of, hey, don't send it out then because I'm going to be on vacation. I can't even answer the phone calls. So we can set out blackout dates on a calendar, and I'll show you what that looks like. But that way, if mail is scheduled to go out and you happen to be on vacation that week, well, you can just block the week out and we will hold shipping that mail out until after you return and have it delivered on the backside. So that way, when they get it, they call, somebody's actually there to basically work that lead, capture the information, and set the next steps. But all right. So I'll tell you about a gentleman who is crazy experience with direct mail, but his name's Don. He's been investing for almost 20 full years now. He's got a podcast. He's a big flipper. He's out on the West Coast, but his primary lead source has been and still is direct mail. And in just the last couple of years, he's actually sent out over 2 million postcards. And again, that's his primary lead source. That's how he fills his sales bucket with leads. So we've worked with Don pretty close, and we want to find out, all right, so what's some of the things that are challenging for you and other people who are doing direct mail? You've done a bunch of it. Are we going down the right path with ours? So there's 5 main lessons. The first one's like the right runway will basically get you in a position to be successful as you're starting this campaign. It can't be one and done, right? Do you have enough budget required to be 5 or 6 months down the road? How much time does it take to build that momentum before the calls start coming in? And then, once the first deal does come in, reinvest a portion of that and make sure that those leads are consistent going forward. So we've got a big training on that as far as what that runway looks like before this truly starts getting the results that we need. All right. Number 2 is like, all right, how can we be consistency? So set it and forget it. If we're manually hoping to remember this and work with that, it's got to be every week and month. And how can we consistently keep our pipelines full by using direct mail? All right. The shotgun approach. So again, as we're segmenting our list, and we know, again, Anisha's on this, Alexa's on there, blah, blah, blah. How can we target down those highly motivating factors to truly find the best of the best on those lists to send our marketing out to and improve our likelihood of a response and ultimately a deal on the backside, right? And I've got a little graphic here to kind of put this in a visual aspect here, right? So if we're going after absentee owners, tax delinquent, code violations, all right, instead of marketing to everybody on all of these lists, we just want to find that sweet spot And that's what we call list stacking. That's our highly motivated list and the list that's most likely to need our services or be willing to accept offers and ultimately sell the property. All right. And then we have to track everything. So Anish, I know, this is a big part of what we do at REI Blackbook, but whether it's online ads, direct mail, cold calling, it doesn't matter. We have to be able to track what marketing is working, where the leads are coming from, and what's our return on our marketing time and our marketing dollars. So we've got a lot of stuff built into into Profit Drive and REI Blackbook to make sure that we have clear visibility into what's working. At the end of 6 months, if you've gotten 2 deals off of direct mail, but your cold calling is getting you 4 deals, well, hey, like you need to know to make those adjustments and put more time and resources into what's actually bringing deals. So again, just want to be able to track everything throughout the campaign. And those metrics that Anish gave a second ago, 2%, 3%, 4%, it requires, multiple touch points over months and sometimes years before those leads are actually in a position to want to sell the property. The timing is right for them. So follow up. And then just when you think there's no way they're ever going to sell, keep following up until they tell you to go pound sand or they sell to somebody else. Like it's once they're in, don't let them out unless they tell you to stop. So, all right. Anish, I know you know Andy Werner. He just did training, and I don't know if you were on the call or not, but he went through and basically segmented all his deals when they came through. Over 70% of all of his deals came through follow-up of 6 months or longer. So this is a high volume, does a ton of business out in Phoenix, but 70% of all of his deals were 6 months or more with requiring multiple follow-up activities throughout. So again, follow up.
I'm also going to share, because some of you guys might know Antonio Lopez, who's been one of our students, and I've done some short term. He actually built out a workflow or a follow-up system, let me call it. Now I feel like Kevin using these fancy words, but he built out a follow-up system for about a year and a half on text messages. And I mean, I saw the whole string of text and the lady's like, yeah, thank you for following up. And then all of a sudden that last one was like, hey, I'm finally ready to do this. And that was all automated. And he was like, oh, and he wound up getting the deal that way too. So I think that's always important. Again, the one of the reasons that, we're happy to have you as, one of our corporate vendors, why we included in our coaching program, is what was happening prior was literally we were using 5 different softwares that didn't talk to each other, that are costing way more money, and to constantly transfer things over. So what I do like about, obviously with this new portion, you could include the mailers. I didn't know about the driving for dollars thing, that you could do that right away. So I think that's pretty cool that I know we'll start incorporating with our students. So it's important. Again, these guys are, what I like about it is like you guys are data points of using what other investors do. So I'm not trying to create a new program of some sort. I'm like, hey, those guys are doing, we're going to do the same thing except better.
Yep. Yeah. And at the end of the day, we're software and data nerds. We just happen to help real estate investors like that. That's our niche that we help. So 100%, like we rely on people like you, Anish, to actually teach the tactics and how to, and I'm getting started. Like that's not ours. We're literally just providing the tools to help you be successful. And
I'm gonna just a quick off subject thing, because I had this conversation with Kevin before you guys came on. So what I thought was really funny is that in his personal life, he actually gets pop-ups or not pop-ups or text messages. I hope your wife's not listening, but important birthdays of people in his life. He actually set up a workflow of the people that are important to him, and birthdays pop up or anniversaries or all the above. So I was kind of laughing too how many people are actually using it in their personal life also besides their business life too.
Yeah, I literally get automated notifications a month out and 2 weeks out prior to birthday. So now I have time to go shopping and figure things out. And even if I'm a bad person, she still gets a text message letting me know how much I love her and how important she is, which makes me sound like a terrible human being. But it is what it is. So, all right.
Hey, can you guys in the future add how to, can you tie it into Amazon so it sends my wife a birthday gift or something? Or Alexa, her birthday tomorrow, it would have been great that you would have sent her something and said, hey, you're awesome.
That's right. Well, I'm going to put Alexa on that workflow, just so you know. So Alexa, I'll never forget your birthday ever again. All right. But so anyway, so what I'll do is, basically this guy sends out millions of postcards. We've learned a lot from him, how he manages, sets it all up on autopilot, how many postcards need to go for different campaigns, et cetera. So again, we're using the data and the things that we've learned. And now we get to basically help you and shorten the curve and say, okay, you don't need to go out and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars sending millions of postcards. Take what we've learned and plug it into your business. And now you can much more likely find success using this. So, all right, just to kind of give you an idea, one of the cool things about what we do, and those of you who have done direct mail, you probably already know how much it costs to send a postcard. So, a small standard 4x6 postcard, you put a picture of the house on there. Those typically work pretty well. But what's the cost per postcard? And I'd be curious if somebody wants to throw some stuff in the chat of what you've spent on your last postcard. So whether you sent 500 or 10,000 of them, what was your cost per postcard that you sent out? And the reason I'm saying that is because typically, again, we've got thousands of people that use our platform. So what we do is we take all the orders that we receive on a daily basis, we lump them together and send them to our print house, and we get to use our bulk pricing to share with everybody who participates. So if you're sending one, cool, you get the collective buying power of a bunch of other investors who are ordering mail through us. If you're sending 5,000, well, cool, you're still getting a crazy discounted price that you're going to pay less than if you went and worked directly at a mail house yourself. So again, ours are 44 cents per postcard that's mailed first class with pictures and, the whole deal. So if it comes back, you get the returns, everything along those lines. But if you look, and this here is one of, I won't say them by name because that would be wrong, but one of the national print houses that you could go to their website. If you search them, they'll probably pop up towards the top. But this is their standard pricing, and you'll notice the number of mailers required in order to get that price. So for 3,000 pieces on the left, all the way up to 12,000 on the right-hand side, this is their pricing if you go and order one round of postcards with those type of volumes. So,
so
as we look at,
I had someone at 55 cents of kind of, so
at 55
I wonder if so that's pretty standard, 55 cents each is what I've seen also, with a minimum amount as you with one of these big companies.
Right. And honestly, 55 cents isn't a bad price. It truly, I mean, that's a market rate for, again, the standard size postcard. And I'll show you what that means. So on the left-hand side, if you were to send 3,000 pieces total, it's $450 right there, just in mail cost differences, not to manage, not even taking into account. Now you get to stack your list and target down who you want to market to. If you want to drive for dollars, setting these up on autopilot to make sure that you don't have to call them next month to do drop number 2 and drop number 3. All right. Silver. So for who's paying 55 cents, well, there you go. If you're doing the 6,000 piece minimum order that they have, that's $660 on that one mail drop alone. And down here, they give you a bigger discount, so the margins go down, but still a $600 savings based on their lowest price of 49 cents. You're still saving a nickel a piece. I mean, that's over 10% less expensive than what you would get at most other mail houses that you still have to spend a lot of time, resources, and not forget to do the second drop and the third drop and everything else. So this is just a really inexpensive way to keep your marketing going out, managing your list, and then letting it go on autopilot for the next 5 or 6 months. And I'll show you what that means. But again, so
I got someone else also 65 cents for 500 cards. So it adds up. The less you do, again, the pricing goes up too. So
right. And the bigger thing that we don't talk about when we kind of look at the cost is, what's the opportunity cost of holding that mail drop to go out until you find 500? properties, or that you have 1,000 to get those discounts. If you're waiting a month or two, well, somebody else may find that property before you. And then from a consistent deal flow standpoint, you don't want to wait, because again, it's going to take multiple touch points. So if you wait 2 months before you even start, all you're doing is pushing that timeline out even further. But just to do quick math, you said it was 65 cents times 65, that's 325. And yeah, so I mean, just on a 500 postcard order, that's $125 a month right there, or $125 just on that one drop. But okay. Anyway, so what we do at Profit Drive, we automate those direct mail campaigns. We've got pre-built campaigns. I'll show you what it looks like. You can send one-off direct mail. You can send a whole bunch of them. It's up to you. You can skip trace in bulk right there inside the app and inside the web portal. List stacking, manage your list. Again, who's the most motivated people out of everyone that I want to market to. The campaign tracking, we're about to release that in full, by the way, so that way you'll know response rates, all the metrics and data that goes behind each campaign that you're sending out. Drive for dollars, so it's going to track your routes and let you have other people go and drive for you. Give you the owner's name and mailing address, track your routes. We'll even put the picture of the property on the postcard. So when they get it, it means a little bit more when it's, hey, that is my house, so on. And again, we're about to roll out the scrub against the do not call list as well. So that way you'll know, hey, if cold calling is part of your process and you skip trace, well, can you legally call that person? Yes or no? But so that's what we go through. So again, the other part that we want to do as well, because we know that, you know, there is an education factor in, are we going about this the right way? So we actually have a course that we're including in here that will help you basically manage your direct mail. What's the 5 keys to success that I already told you about? How do we dig into each one? Picking your market, your budget and runway, and the timing of everything, all the way through how to properly set up and manage a direct mail course. Now, this is really important if you're not going to use Profit Drive. If you're going to try to do this yourself, this course will be extremely valuable as you're planning and going through starting that campaign. But we normally sell that for $1,000. You guys will get access to all of that. You know, these are different modules. We've got it broken down, what to do next, where will they call, how to set up the phone system and the tracking and the follow-up aspects, because again, that's when they call, that doesn't mean they're ready to sell right now. It might be, you know, kind of like Antonio, it might be a year and a half down the road before they respond back to our follow-up campaigns. But again, it's everything you need to truly manage a direct mail campaign. All right. We even have some of Don's the same campaigns that he uses for his different lists when he finds a property, this is the sequence for his absentee, this and this and this. Here are the 6 postcards or 7 postcards that get dropped, whether it's 30 or 45 days apart. But his exact campaigns that, again, he sent out 2 million, he tracks it, he knows what works. Instead of trying to figure it all out yourself, cool. Use the stuff that we know from a data standpoint works, gets responses, and puts you in a likelihood to start making offers. All right. The next part is say, all right, acquisitions training. What happens when I answer the phone call? What do I say? And the follow-up part. So we even have a little course in here that walks through like the acquisition process. I won't spend a lot of time, but Jerry does nothing but direct mail and how he sets up, what he says on the phone calls, what his team says, and the follow-up sequences. So again, none of this is going to be groundbreaking, especially if you're working with a niche directly. But if you do need a little help on what to do when the phone rings, we've got this built out, because it's one thing to get the phone ring and to send out direct mail as a marketing strategy. But if you don't know what to do when they call or how to say it, there's going to be a gap there, right? So, all right. The good news is I'm going to give everybody a free trial to Profit Drive. We've got 3 different plans. If depending on the amount of mail and amount of people you want to drive around, you know, what type of business do you have in place today and what you want, you can get a free trial for any one of these. I'm even going to give you free postcards. You heard that right. This is the first time that we are offering any of this to anybody. And Anish, since this is my first presentation on Profit Drive, we just launched this publicly like 2 weeks ago. As you know, our existing customers have been using it for a couple of years now, but we've been building out some new stuff and everything else. It's finally ready, like, to truly make a big splash. This is my first presentation on Profit Drive and everything we've got. And we're going to up it a little bit. And we're actually going to give everybody here free access for a couple weeks to hop in there. You can drive, you can send out some mail campaigns.
No way, free?
For real, for real. We're even throwing in 100 postcards. So if you've got a list or you want to go find some, cool. I'm not going to ask you to pay me $1. I'm going to give you free postcards, start your marketing, see how it works. And then if you like it and you think it's something that you know.
Well, Kevin, tell them what the real deal of that is, right? If you get a deal from one of his 100 postcards, I know Kevin likes whiskey. I could tell you the things on his registry that you better send him.
Yep, that's right. How do you know I like whiskey? Never mind. Don't answer that. Don't answer that. But 100% right. Actually, you don't even have to buy me whiskey unless you see me in person. Then yes, I think you should buy me whiskey. But if you would just send me a note of just saying, hey, I've got a deal off of this, or this is what I've learned, and good or bad feedback. I just want to make sure that what we're trying to do is making a difference, helping you, and what that's meant for your business. Because again, this is how we put other people in a higher likelihood to be successful, find deals, and streamline some of the chaos that we sometimes get wrapped up in, right? So, and if I've got time, I was
going to say also, like, this is special pricing. It's not on their website, guys. So I just want to make sure that you guys know that I've actually worked these deals out prior with these guys to do something special. I give them some Indian guilt so that they feel bad about it. But yeah, so I mean, these guys are fantastic. So, again, we want you to use the system. What about, you'll probably get into it, but this is obviously separate from the regular REI Blackbook program. The profit, you could have Profit Dial without REI Blackbook, or the main software, or vice versa. But what I'm going to tell you is, like, I don't know how you could have it separate. Personally, I'm just saying it's because what I'm going to use is like that postcard situation, right? Let's, with REI Blackbook, you could set up separate phone numbers for a particular campaign.
Yep.
On that portion, or you're creating a landing page that, hey, on that postcard, it says, come check me out on this, where that campaign's from. So I don't know how someone else is doing it without it, to be honest. I don't know. I guess
100%. And I'll actually log in real quick and show you what the campaigns look like and delivery calendars and all of that. But you're absolutely right. I mean, they are separate. You can have REI Blackbook without having Profit Drive and vice versa. So, if you've already got a CRM in your business and it works great and you love it, like, don't go and try to force REI Blackbook into something that's not broken and spend time on that. However, if this direct mail system and what I'm teaching you today does make sense, you can still plug this in and create numbers and tracking in your existing CRM and database. It's just not quite as easy. With us obviously building both and owning both, we've set certain things up to where it can automatically track, tag, start those automated follow-up campaigns. So, like when Antonio did it, when they call in, they're not ready yet. Well, cool. Hey, if they're going to be ready in the next 2 years, they're going to know who to call because I'm going to automatically follow up with them. But 100%, you're absolutely right. But we've made it to where it's super easy if you use both. But we also know that that's not going to be feasible.
And so that you guys all know, our bpmrea.com website, it's built on REI Blackbook. The whole backend is REI Blackbook. If you guys are on our cash buyers list, BPM discount properties, REI Blackbook. If you're on our co-wholesaling, REI Blackbook. So we've built out workflows. It's not me texting you saying, thank you for joining. It's already built out on that. So it's, again, like, some of you guys do know me. Some of you guys might not know me. I'm one of those people that always tries to use all our corporate vendors to see if they're full of it or not. So I have no problem, like telling you how it is and what I like and what I don't like too. So
yeah,
that
100%. But yeah, And if you go to profitdrive.com, you'll see like there's no option to sign up for free. You don't get 100 free postcards or anything like that. So if this is something that you think might help your business and start to, just to test out direct mail, if you've never done it before, go to profitdrive.com/BPM. And that will take you to a place where you can sign up, get a 14-day, 2-week free trial, full access, plus 100 free cards that you can start mailing right away. So anyway, I'm going to jump out again.
If you can share your thing. At the same time, I just have a gazillion questions. So we can run through some real quick while you're
for sure.
Show it.
For sure.
Go right back to it. So Keisha's asking, is the app good for vacant properties? And I would say it's good for all properties.
Yep.
So that driving for dollars, you could use different lists on that end of it. If I have multiple people driving, do I have to have one account per driver?
No. So you would just have one account and you would be able to add drivers under that account. And just one little point of clarification on that is you may have a driver who's been driving for 2 years and truly knows, hey, this is the ideal property I'm looking for. It's in the areas that we're buying, et cetera. And you can give them the power to start the mail campaign. So instead of them sending it to you, hey, if Anish is my driver and he knows his stuff and I trust him, cool. I can give him the ability to go ahead and start my automated campaign as soon as he's in front of that house. If I've got a brand new driver that I'm onboarding, I can limit what they can do, and they might be able to add properties in my system, but I don't want them to be able to skip trace or send mail and things like that. So you can also limit what one driver does compared to another, but they would just sign in under your account. They'd have their own username and login. But anything they submit goes into yours. And again, you can control what they can or can't do.
Yeah. So on that end of it, can you actually, if that driver, can I say like, oh, Alexa's my driver, she can only send out 5 or 10. Can I limit it that way too? Besides, okay.
You can limit different things on there. Yes. Yeah. You can give them basically a budget and say, okay, I'm going to allow them to send out $50 worth of cards this month or whatever the case is. And beyond that, you'd have to approve it. Yep.
I want to know, there's questions are here, but is there a limit to how many people or drivers on that one account?
There is. So based on the different plans, so we've got 3 different plans. Some of them have unlimited drivers. Some of them has, a handful of drivers all the way down to just one driver. So it's up to you based on how big your team is, how many drivers you have, and you would just basically pick the plan that would be appropriate. Yep.
Yep. So let's see. Do we use REI Blackbook login to log into the Profit Dial app?
Nope. So Profit Drive is a completely separate app. It's a separate login. Most people use the same email address and password, but it is 2 separate programs. Like I said, it's one works without the other. They are a different program to use with separate logins.
Yep. And can 2 devices use the same login? So I guess if you have 2 people on your team, obviously if you set them up as teammates, right, they could be in at the same time, right? That was the question.
Yes.
Alfred, the Profit Drive is separate. I know you're asking which plans include. So REI Blackbook is separate. We of course get separate pricing because we worked out a deal with REI Blackbook. Same thing with Profit Drive. It's definitely separate. So let's see. I know, I don't know about this question. What's a good pay-per-click company? Miami-Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach County? I don't really have one. I could tell you we did pay-per-clicks for a while. I spent about $12,000. This was about a year ago on it. I probably got, I don't know, maybe I got no deals from it. And I got, I looked at 2 houses on it. So it's super competitive in our market. I'm just going to tell you, you're going to have to budget some pretty big money for it.
Yeah, I was going to say Miami in that South Florida market for pay-per-click is outrageously expensive. You've got to have a massive budget and be super dialed in for that. So if that's you, I do have some contacts that I can share with you, Anish. I can pass on some information that you can share later, but just be prepared to spend a ton of money to do it. And you better make crazy spreads on your deals to cover it. But yeah.
Absolutely. Alfred, we'll go ahead, and I know you want to join REI Blackbook. He's asking about pricing. Can you throw a link in there, or maybe Alexa, if you have the link? What is it, 197? I always
It's 197 a month, and that covers 10 websites and 10 phone numbers, the text platform, up to 10 team members, like all the automated follow-up campaigns. So don't hold me to it. I think it's reiblackbook.com/BPM, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't hold me to it, but so for members of your REIA niche, again, don't go to reiblackbook.com directly, because then you won't get the free trial with all of the automated campaigns that Antonio and that you and Taryn are using. Those same exact campaigns, we have a plug and play system that we normally sell them for $1,000. All your BPM members get that for free. A couple other things too. So make sure that you use that right link, because those follow-up campaigns, otherwise you won't get access to those. Yeah,
and just because of time, if for whatever reason we're missing it, just email myself or Alexa, and we'll make sure that we send you the correct link on that end of it too. Let's see, if we send you a list of properties, is there a wrong zip code or something that makes it inaccurate? Do you correct the mailing information and still send it out, or send it back to us?
So it will notify you, right? So if you import them, it's going to pull up a separate list saying, hey, these properties we could not verify. And we're going to say, hey, this is the information that basically doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. And we have an option. You can press a button that will correct that data for you, but we still want you to verify, because you might have like a certain address over here and the zip code's wrong. Well, it might find that address somewhere else in a different zip code, but it still may not jive. So it sends you a message and basically says, hey, we can correct it. We correct it and say, hey, is this the actual correct one that you're trying to target? But we do stop it, we notify it, and if it doesn't make sense and we can't verify it, we will not send that mail out. And ultimately, it's just you're going to be paying 44 cents for something that never ever hits its target. So yes, we'll tell you, we'll ask you to verify once we do correct it, and then we'll allow you to mail it. Yes.
Absolutely. And I know someone's asked the best practice to skip trace owners of an LLC. What I'm going to tell you is go to sunbiz.org if it's out of Florida, find who the managing members are, and skip trace those people. So that's probably an easier way. Carly, I know you're asking about the website. So you're already a student, so you actually have access that I already paid for REI Blackbook. You could create your own website. You just have to buy your own domain name. If you hit me off record, I could actually, you'll have a couple more questions about that, and as your mentors, we'll be able to help answer.
And initially, I know we talked about this before we hopped on earlier, but all of your students, we have an onboarding and a success coach internally here. So any BPM students, we will hop on and do like a one-on-one call with you and your team, and like help set all of that up, answer all those questions, plug your campaigns in for you. So we don't expect you to go in there and do it yourself. As part of Anisha's group, we literally will hold your hand through that and make sure everything is correct. So that way the system.
And I'm going to be very clear. This is for just our mentoring students and our newer ones that we've included too. So that we're paying for REI Blackbook. If we are you guys okay? Well, I know I have some former students still on there, and if they are using REI Blackbook, would you do an onboarding for those guys too? I'm putting you on the spot.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not for the entire REIA. They've got to be part of of your actual coaching program. Yeah, I don't have the bandwidth to do everybody. I'm sorry, but
yeah. Okay, now I'm done with all those questions. So
all right, cool. If any more pop up, let me know. I just wanted to real quickly just run through what it looks like inside of Profit Drive, just so you got an idea of what this is. But so when you're first signing in for the first time, we've got a minute-and-a-half video that, again, this guy looks familiar. He was the one that I forced to drive in the car with me. He's our marketing director, awesome dude. But so step one, you need to create a marketing profile. So when we send out the mail, what name, what phone number do they call? Do you want them to text in? What's the link to your website? All the stuff that you want customer facing on that card, you fill that out, and we can show you how to do it, or you can just do it. Create your first campaign. So we literally will walk you through step by step of this is the order that you need to go in, and then basically start your marketing campaign and go from there. But we've got additional resources on this as well, but we just want to make it super simple. Do this, 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 and this, and just wait for the phone to ring. All right. But as we're looking at our leads, right, whether we import them, whether we've driven for dollars, et cetera, you'll see all these tags over here. And again, this is just a demo account, so I don't have this completely all built out. I probably should use my Profit Drive account anyway. You can add one manually. You can import a big list right here. It's entirely up to you. It walks all the way through. And then, so if I wanted to segment my list, for example, okay, well, hey, I want to go through, a certain tag and I say, all right, this is my absentee owners. All right, I want to add another one. So, or when we were talking earlier about those highly targeted lists of who's most motivated, this is how we filter those lists down and can say, okay, well, out of my 10,000 people in here, 10,000 properties, these 500 are the most likely to sell their property. I'm going to start there. So again, that's how easy it is to filter that list and put them on a separate campaign. So that way we're not spending too much on direct mail. We're going to increase our likelihood of deals, et cetera. But all right, I wanted to show that. Again, I can click on any one of the properties and see pictures, who owns it, all the financial details down here on the bottom. I can skip trace them. I can find out what campaign they're in. So this house is actually in an active campaign right now. It's started here, it's active. So on, I can even capture details. So if I went in later and didn't say that it had a full mailbox or appears vacant, I can add those additional tags there on the back end too. But that would be manual if this is how you're doing it. But all right, you can also, that's a list view. Some people like to look at it this way. And you can also even look at it from a map view standpoint. So again, if I had driven here recently, this will show you all the routes that I've recently driven personally and so on. But this is a nice, easy way to look at your list of leads and find those common characteristics. All right. The marketing profiles, we've got a bunch of different profiles again. So this is Damon at REI Blackbook. What phone number do I want them to text in? Do I want them to call? Where do I want the return mail sent? You can add company logos and profile pictures. For those of you who are licensed, you have to have certain disclaimers letting them know that you are licensed. So you can copy and paste and put your disclaimers right there on the card as well. So that's CYA, right? Cover your butt or cover your on the back there, but we make it easy to do that as well, because a lot of us, and especially going forward, are probably going to have our licenses. So, all right, workflows. These are basically, what do you like when I send out a campaign, what do I want to happen? And I can, for example, I'm just going to click on one here, but all right, this is sending. If I start a campaign on a property I find, I'm immediately sending them this postcard. The next one is going to wait 3 days and send this letter, and then wait 2 months. But if I wanted to add another step, I say, all right, I want to put another postcard in. I'm going to wait 45 days. And my favorite mail templates, I want this one to go out to them. All right. And now that is part of that campaign. So now if I find a property as I go driving here in a minute, cool, I can send that out. And over this 3-month period, these are the pieces of mail that's going to go out and the timing behind it. Right. But it's that easy. We do have pre-built workflows and campaigns in here. So again, if you want Don, who sent out 2 million postcards, if you just wanted to use the ones that he is actively using in his business, cool. You can just press start on that one and it will automatically send those 7 postcards out over the 30 and 45 day gaps that he's got. All right. These are the different campaigns that we have in here. Again, these are, if I sent them out, here's my leads, who owns those properties, how many mailers were sent on each one, how many are remaining to be sent. It tells you the next mail date. Is it in progress? And I can even click on it and say, all right, well, what's up with this one? All right, here's my property, right? Super duper simple to do that. Anyway, if you want to hop in here and look at all the different postcards that we have and say, okay, are you looking for cash buyers? Are you looking for delinquent properties, motivated sellers, Do you want pictures? Yes or no? All those different things that pop up here. Or here's Don's actual campaign. Here's the actual postcards he uses in his business, and say, all right, I like that one and I like that one. Cool. And now you can make them into your favorites so they're easier to find later, whatever. But we've got tons and tons of different letter templates, ones that we know have worked in the past, different colors, and you can mix up different ones. Just say, okay, cool, I want that one, that one, that one, so on and so forth. But I get excited about this one. So let me nerd out with you for just a moment, please. So we just rolled this out. I think it was last week, but we just implemented a delivery calendar. So first of all, I challenge any of you who's doing direct mail, go tell your mail house or other providers that you're using now that you want to see a delivery calendar over the next 6 months of all the mail that's scheduled to go out. They're gonna laugh at you and tell you, haha, no. But anyway, where I'm going with this is like, look, I can look and see, all right, earlier this month, this campaigns are obviously in the past, but I can click on it. There were 3 of them that were mailed. This was my total cost for that campaign. This is when it was delivered, but you can kind of go all the way through and dig into that. But more importantly, let's look and see what I have scheduled for next month. So as I'm sitting here and preparing my acquisitions team or making sure that I'm able to take phone calls, et cetera, predict my deal flow coming up, right? I can look and say, all right, I've got them scheduled here and this scheduled. And when you see these locks that aren't closed, that means it's not too late to modify, adjust, or cancel that particular campaign. So if I'm going to be out on vacation, maybe I'm lucky enough to go to Florida and hang out with Anish and have some of that whiskey that he knows that I love so much. All right, I'm going to block this out. So I can, click on this, for example, and say, all right, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm going to go through and just go ahead and cancel that order or postpone it and so on and so forth. But you can block out dates. If I wanted to, scroll through, I can go through this calendar and block off the time periods that I'm not going to be available. And then that will just delay it until I come back. So, and I'm in a random old account here. So it's not looking quite the same way as I remembered, but anyway, again, we just rolled this out. I haven't looked at it. I'm sorry. We just got out of our event, but anyway, you can kind of go through again and see this was mailer 1 of 3. It cost me 55 cents. This one's 44, so on and so forth. Is it scheduled? Is it mailed? All the way through and really dig in to what's the expected time, what's coming up, and so on and so forth. But routes, I don't have any routes here. This will let you know what routes I've imported list in. If I wanted to add drivers, so here's a couple of drivers. Right here, you can just generate a link. So if I wanted to have somebody sign up to drive for me, cool. This is an old account. I'm not on that plan to add extra drivers, but this will generate a link right then and there that you can text, you can email, whatever the case is. And now if I want Anish to drive for me, cool. He just fills that out. It'll automatically send him a username and password. And now he can start driving, submitting properties, so on and so forth. But super easy there. Any members of my team. So maybe Alexa, she's not going to go and drive for me, but I want her to help manage direct mail or start postcard or start campaigns, et cetera. I can add a person on my team, go through and say, all right, yep, I trust her. She can send out campaigns on my behalf. I'll give her a budget of this, or maybe I don't trust her. She gets a 0 budget. I just want her to basically schedule everything out and I'll give the finals approvals, et cetera. And then down here at the bottom, here's those bonus courses that we are putting in for you. So the acquisition stuff, Don's direct mail course, if you wanted to go through all of that. But just a real quick view. I wish that video would have maintained the sound on it that I sent with Josh. Anish, I'll send you a link to that. So that way, if somebody does want to finish watching it, they can. But
what we'll do is I'll maybe we could just add it to our thank you email for people today, Alexa, if you don't mind. We'll just add that video so they can watch. I got a couple of quick questions for you. If they get set up on the campaign, and let's say it's 6, 6 touches that you pick, I assume you pay as you go, as each campaign drops. You don't pay for the all 6 upfront, or do you pay or can you, or how does that work on?
So what we typically do is have you pay upfront. There's options on the back that you can change the timing of that. But if you schedule 6 of them out and then you run out of, like, your credit balance drops to 0 before that next one goes out, it won't go out.
Got it.
They'll send you,
work.
yeah, and they'll send you notifications and all that good stuff. And you can kind of see, I can click here and you can set this up to where it's like, all right, my marketing budget, do I want to automatically, if I go to 0 and I know that I've got future mailings, it's like, all right, I want to automatically recharge this in $50 amounts. And, you know, the minimum amount and then the recharge amount. And you can set that up to where it's like, okay, cool. Here you go. The next page, it'll actually let you know how many recharges per month will you allow. If you know your budget's 250 or 500, whatever. If once it gets to 500, it won't automatically recharge unless you manually approve it at that point. So
well, what I like about that is like, hey, look, you know up front what your marketing budget is, right? So it's not like, hey, I'm just going to wing it. I'm going to put $500, it'd be $250, whatever that number is. Send out that campaign and kind of forget about it.
Yep.
Meaning it's already kind of set up on that portion. Just keep an eye on it. Like I would probably keep an eye on the calendar to make sure that, hey, oh, that's my second mailing or my third mailing, whatever that mailing is.
Right.
You know, but now you kind of forget about it and move forward with it. And no surprises.
Yep. So, and I didn't show you this a second ago, but you're absolutely right on that. If I like say I imported a list, for example, I can select them all and be like, hey, I want to look up all the owners right here. And that's going to give me, you know, mailing address, mortgage information, owner's name, so on. If I want to start a campaign, it's like, cool. Well, here's all these. Do I want to create a new one? Or maybe I just want to use my, you know, 3-touch yellow postcard or Don's signature campaign, whatever. All right, cool. And then just press submit. And now I've got mail scheduled for the next 7 months on those 3 properties, and it's going to get delivered, blah, 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 blah. One thing I didn't mention, this is important too, and then I'll open it up for questions because I could talk forever on this. But the other thing is, all right, say they call back after the second postcard and we've got 6 more scheduled. Well, as soon as they call back, you can go in there, just click, cancel it, and all that stuff. We are in the process of integrating fully REI Blackbook and Profit Drive. So that way, as soon as that phone number hits, it's going to come in here and it can basically, eventually here soon, it will automatically stop that as soon as that phone call comes in, because there's no point in spending additional money sending the mailers if you're already engaged with them. So there's some even more ninja stuff coming down the road, but you can go in there and stop those future mailings when those people call in, because that is going to happen. So
yeah, I didn't even realize that. That's a good point. Like I didn't even think about that. So you guys are smart.
Most people don't think, and they just, like, if you go to a mail house and do that, like the mail house isn't going to go in and stop that one piece from going out in a month or whatever. Like, so anyway, you end up basically spending money and ultimately look kind of stupid to the homeowner too, because hey, I just called you. Why are you still sending me mail? Right. But anyway, so I'm going to shut up for a moment. And are there any other questions, comments, concerns?
We crushed actually a bunch of them, but one of our students, she's just asking, her website's tied up with another software company on monthly payments. Can she get some help transferring the website? And because she wants to cancel their software and get into REI Blackbook. So the answer is yes.
If you've got existing domains, it takes us about 20 minutes. We've got a full-time customer support team. You can call us, chat with us, email us, whatever makes the most sense. But yes, we can transfer a domain very easily, and we can even help create a new website and things like that for you. That's not a problem. Same thing goes with phone numbers. If you've got 10 phone numbers out there that you've already been marketing with, you don't want to shut those down, because you're probably going to get a phone call eventually from somebody following up, right? So we can transfer those phone numbers into REI Blackbook and use those as one of the 10 that is included in the software as well. So my team will help you out with all that.
Absolutely. So I think that's all the questions. I know we ran a few minutes over. Kevin and I could chat for 9 hours, 12 hours. We're both super nerds is an understatement. Yeah, like that's probably pretty easy. So this is like today was really to give you an idea of what's happening out there, right? Again, it's the way to automate your business, cost effective, all the things that you can't do, or if you're on a limited budget, right? You're not you don't have thousands, or like we used to spend at one point almost $5,000 to $10,000 in mailers a month, and it wasn't working because we weren't tracking it right. To be honest with that was number one. It wasn't consistent enough. Like it was mess. That was years ago. So I'm just even laughing at like the mistakes I've made too. So again, we love REI Blackbook all the way through. If you guys, again, I've worked out discounts on different things. So make sure you email us, because whatever Kevin promised you, it's not on their website.
Nope.
And definitely take advantage of those 100 postcards. Like, why not? On that portion too.
100%. And I probably missed one of the more important things that I wanted to talk about today. I'm literally just going to show you the dashboard, but hey, you spent $11,000 in this, it wasn't working, you didn't track it. We actually have a dashboard that's kind of pre-built that will go through and say, all right, how many offers made, how many deals, blah, 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 blah. So you can kind of go through and find out, is it working? Is it not working? And instead of manually doing this on spreadsheets and things like that. I forgot to show that earlier. It's important.
Did you guys create that dashboard for me? Just because the mistakes I made.
We've definitely, like, honestly, a lot of this stuff does come out of the mastermind group, because we talk to people like you and Amy weren't and things like that. It's like, okay, so the guys who are doing this big and need that visibility, like this is what they're looking for. All right, well, we've got to solve that before we do this. And so yes and no, I guess. Yes.
The nice way is that, listen, you screwed up a bunch of times. We're trying to make you better at that. And
right. And I just wasn't sure if you were going to want royalties on the back end of us stealing your ideas, but which the answer was no. So
if you want me to show you how to do things that are broken in the past, I could show you.
Right. I'm sorry for going over. Thank you for staying on, having me on. I love this group for so many different reasons. You're like so much fun. And I'm honored to be a part of this. Thank you for having me today, guys.
Absolutely.
So much, Kevin. We appreciate.
Alexa, do we have?
Yes.
Do we have? We already put all the giveaways and all the stuff in the chat.
Yes.
For these guys.
In the chat, you'll see the reiblackbook.com/BPM. You'll also see the profitdrive.com/BPM. I'll go ahead and send you all those links in the thank you email after the event. And of course, you can, send me an email if you have any questions. I'll get you in touch with their team. We did record this webinar, so it will be on the YouTube channel. The link is also in the chat. And I thought today was amazing. I was blown away by how many students we have in here. That's like amazing. So good job, guys. Happy that you came in today, because this is new. So.
And I'm sorry, and the last thing I just want to make sure is, like, guys, seriously, like I got Kevin to give us 100, free postcards, 2 weeks for free. Like, I don't know what else I could ask. Try it out. And what I really like about the REI Blackbook team and what they're committed from the top to the bottom is giving them feedback, right? You can email me, I'll forward the feedback, good or bad. That's how they've gotten better with their system, is by users like us. So go ahead and use it and say, oh, it'd be great if it does it, if it did this, if it didn't. You'll be surprised a few months later, all of a sudden, magically, it happens on their software. So
yep, that's how
it doesn't have to be all good. It could be bad. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So thank you, Kevin.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
Alexa, see you. Happy birthday again, Alexa.
Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week at the monthly meeting, and have an amazing rest of your week. Thank you so much for coming.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, Kevin.
See ya.